I have no power.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I'm on my cell phone and I'm scared.
Oh,
Oh, shoot.
where are you?
I'm in Randolph.
Okay. And you have no power, huh?
Yeah, we must have had some down lines. The trees were blowing sideways, so.
Yeah, I just saw like a
Not-
report of like 70-mile-an-hour winds.
Ooh.
Yeah, didn't last very long, but it was super intense.
But, well, I hope your power comes back on soon.
Thanks for having me.
I'm thinking.
My name is Max Heinig. I'm a 23
Whoa, 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 whoa.
veteran
whoa.
teacher in
Max,
Medford Public
stop.
Schools. The last 18 years I've spent at Medford High School teaching world literature and British literature.
Oh, at least I know we can get him. Alrighty.
All right.
So I think we probably have, we're missing a few board members whom I would like to see join, but I think they will join as they can. And I don't want to keep people on the phone too long because I know we all have something that we probably want to do at 9 o'clock, or at least some of us do.
Oh, yeah.
So I want to be off by then. And thank you all for coming. It's great to see so many people. So I'm just going to ask, I'm going to read the list of new board members, and those of you who are on the board, who are with us, just like wave and say hi. And then at the end, I would like the two new board members to just spend like, 30 seconds each introducing themselves, because some of us know you better than other people do, and it would be great, really great for everybody to know everyone. So since I'm having a little trouble actually getting the board agenda to show, I'm just going to tell you roughly what we're going to do because it's pretty quick. I'm going to do the spoken word poetry section with Terry Carter and Heather Sullivan, and by video, Max Heinig. And then we're going to have a remembrance of our friend Louise Musto-Choate, and hopefully her good friend and fellow Cachet board member, Laurel Siegel, is going to be able to join us for that. I'm thinking that's probably going to be around 7:40, and she has another meeting, but she's going to try and be off by then. And I also want to say that we're going to record this meeting up to that, through that point, because her one of her children has requested that they be able to see it afterwards. They're very delighted that we're doing this, and unfortunately are driving into Boston tonight, so they don't have time to do it. And then after that, we will have a short business meeting, and you're welcome to stay if you're not a board member, but you're not required to. So we should probably be done by around 8:30. So make sure nobody else is waiting to get in. Nope, not yet. So Sarah and Terry, did you want to introduce Terry, or do you want Terry to just take the floor?
So Terry, I don't know how many people know you, but I assume that most of the people here do. Terry, I was thrilled when Terry said yes to this. Terry's poetry is phenomenal, and he writes easily and well, and it's just wonderful to hear him speak. So I'm going to let Terry introduce himself further, and then Terry will introduce Heather and provide a little bit of introduction for Max, although Max's video does have a little bit of introduction of himself. So with that, I'll turn it over to Terry.
Oh wait, should I said I was going to have the board introduce themselves, and then I went right by. Should we do that first?
Yes, that's fine.
Just to say hi? Okay, well, I'm Susan. I say my name is Marv on this, but it's actually Susan. I don't really like the name Marv that much for me. So, And
Suit you, just doesn't suit you.
no. And
But you're marvelous.
Well, there it is then.
Thank you so much, Sarah.
You're welcome.
One of the Sarahs, would you like to go next?
I'm Sarah Beardsley, and I'm co-president, well, until the board switches, with Susan. I'm sitting out here in the cornfield.
Sarah?
Welcome, everyone. It's just really, I said it before, but it's just so wonderful to see everyone's faces.
Yeah, it is.
And I'm Sarah Gerald. I'm relatively new to Medford, having come about 5 years ago, and got involved in this when Susan said, "Oh, I have so much work to do." I said, "Well, what do you have to do?" "Well, I can help you with that." So here I am.
Little did she know.
Little did I know. And I do try to set up shows and things like that for the board, and and I helped set up this poetry reading as well.
Chris, I know you're down there.
Hello, my name's Chris Howe, and this is, well, the end of my first year on the board. I think most of you know me from when I owned the M. Howe Creative Gallery, but I'm enjoying staying involved in the art scene of Medford and beyond by spending time here with you guys.
Celia?
Hi, I'm Celia. I am the treasurer and Mystic Makerspace, one of the planners there. And I know where Max is tonight because it's the high school parent PTO meetings that I'm missing, but I'll just deal with that. So.
Nancy?
Oh.
Nancy, can you?
Yeah, and she muted herself. I think she thought she was unmuting herself.
How are we now?
Good.
I'm disqualified for not being able to use the mute button, for crying out loud. But I am finishing this year with the now ArtsMedford organization, and it's been my honor and pleasure to be here and working with all these fine people. And yeah, that's it. It's been a fun ride.
We will miss you greatly.
Well, if I get my due, but you know, heads up, if I get my dues paid on time, you know, I might attend a board meeting once in a while. Members are allowed to come in. So
yeah, absolutely.
I hope to
Party crash anytime you like. So we're still minus a couple of people, but let's take this opportunity
Brian.
to welcome Jason and Allison.
Brian, right?
Brian,
Brian's
are you here? Where are you, Brian?
Am I here? Can you
Oh,
hear
there
me?
you are. You disappeared on me for a second.
Hi, everybody. I'm Brian. I believe this is my third year on the board, and Nancy stole my thunder. But let me reiterate, it's been awesome working, promoting the arts with a great group. So glad to be here.
You're not leaving, though.
I'm not leaving.
You're not allowed.
Bill, how do you get the voice up? Yep.
Not sure I know what that means, but okay. So maybe Allison and Jason, would you like to?
Hey guys, I am Jason Rabin. I'm very excited to join the board. I am a writer, a singer, a blues harmonica player. I work by day for young audiences in Massachusetts, doing communications to bring the arts into schools throughout the state. And I'm really excited to plug in and see how I can support the arts community here in Medford.
Great.
And I'm Allison Rabin. I am an art therapist. I practice in Salem, Massachusetts. I know several of you from different aspects of my life. I used to work at Outside the Lines studio where I met Mike. And then one of my artists I used to take to West Medford Community Center and met Terry. Do you remember me from a long time ago? Yeah.
I do.
Yeah. And I was on the cachet board for a couple years at that time. And I'm excited. So I was living in Somerville then, and now we live in Medford. So got recruited by Chris Howe, and we're excited to be here.
Great. We're excited to have you. So maybe we'll get the other board members that we'd love to see on the call with us soon. One of them is leaving us this year as well, Rose Lambius, and one is remaining, Ruth Youngblood. And am I missing anybody? I always miss one person, and it's always a different person. But I think that might be everybody. So now back to Terry. And yeah, take it away, Terry.
Well, good evening, everyone. Always a pleasure to be in front of engaged and interested artists in the Medford area. I was born and raised in Medford, and I still work there at the West Medford Community Center. I live now on the South Shore, and I guess my house got the worst of the storm because we lost power. So it's kind of moody, it's kind of atmospheric. I'm kind of digging the candle vibe I have going. But you know, the lighting probably could be a little bit better. But I can see the papers in front of me, so I should be able to do this. I have friends with me this evening. One is live, and one is, we used to say, one is Memorex. But Heather Sullivan is with me, and I had the good fortune of meeting Heather, who is a poet and an author of a couple of poetry books, at an event actually that our third guest, Max Heinig, set up at the Medford Historical Society. It was one of several poetry on hops evenings that he authored, and the design of the evening was Max's beer. He is a brewmaster, as many of you might know, and then poetry by a couple of different poets, including myself and Heather. And I think we instantly kind of bonded. She got my book, I got her book, and the rest is kind of history. So she will join you in just a bit and share some of her great verse. I'm going to share 3 pieces, and then I'm going to get off the stage. The theme this evening, I will also mention that I have actually written 5 books, including my most recent, which just came out a little while ago. It's called Brown Skin and the Brave New World, a Poet's Anthem. The other ones are all brown skin books, and I am the brown skin poet from West Medford. www.brownskinpoet, if you're interested, .net is my website, and all of my books and media are there. So let me get started. The theme is social justice, and I have 3 pieces, a couple of weighty ones. I'll just, put that rejoinder in before I get started. But the first one is maybe not quite as heavy. It's called Tolerance Ain't Easy. We love our babies too. We didn't teach them to cheat and die. We don't raise them to kill or die. We thought they'd have hope in a future. We sacrificed and struggled and bled to ease the way. We prayed unceasingly. We were on our knees crying out, to God be the glory. And still, we're watching history repeat itself. We're bleeding again in the streets. We're watching our babies get beat and die. We cry for every candle of hope that blows out. We cry for every promising future that fades to black. We cry for every good seed that can't find good soil to grow in. Then we gather our souls for strength. We put on the full armor of God anew. We hitch our courage to the sticking post. We march, we shout out, and we stand. God will not be mocked. So we wrestle with demons of hate and segregation's ghosts. We wrestle with modern day lynchings and the growing hubris of our former captors. We have so much more to do, but we are still here, and the work continues. Tolerance ain't easy. So I wrote a couple of blue pieces, and actually I'm working on a sixth book, as yet untitled. But this piece is from that, maybe 2022 volume, every 2 years or so. And it's called The Fog of War. We can't even measure our lives by the decades, by the years, by the months, by the weeks, by the days, by the hours, and by the minutes. We now have to measure our lives by the haters and the trials, by the bigots, by the racists, by the instigators, by the victims, and by the killers. America's heading for such a train wreck. When did these cards come into the deck? People are shouting, yo, what the heck? Why did the knee have to crush the neck? Who do peace officers serve and protect? Why is there such abuse and neglect? Who closed the door to the word respect? What kind of change can our protests effect? What righteous God would refuse to object? What kind of world can our children expect? Have we yet again become the poet's prophetic hogs, penned up ingloriously, hemmed up laboriously, hunted down injuriously, shouted down most furiously, delayed most notoriously, denied most victoriously? These are the decades of new death. These are the years of new yokes. These are the months of new menace. These are the weeks of new worry. These are the days of new demons. These are the hours of new horror. These are the moments of new mayhem. How can a nation be so off course? All of our progress now in reverse. MLK's dream in a funeral hearse. Don't call a doctor, don't need a nurse. The aim is to kill, and they always shoot first. The signs all point to it getting worse. More evil eyes than a voodoo curse. Not enough coin in the federal purse, but the corporate coffers they will reimburse. You've beckoned your poor and disenfranchised to hate, agitate, and castigate our poor and disenfranchised, when they really should be one with us through the fog of your war on the poor. You've bewitched the middle class with envy, scorn, and disgust about our middle class and their so-called entitlements, when in reality your women and your children and your families have benefited far more from government subsidy. You've cheated charity and broken philanthropy in more ways than there are days. Meanwhile, you've turned vast sums of American wealth and tax time dodges toward campaigns of marginalization, suppression, and exclusion. We can't even afford to imagine plowshares and picket fences. We can't even try to envision growing old and comfortable together. We can't even begin to talk about legacy and heritage with our children and our children's children. You've so completely enveloped us in the smoke of urban flames and the fog of war. There you stand, race proud and irritated, ready to shoot at the melanated. Cul-de-sacs are closed and gated, targets acquired and traps fully baited. Military ordnance incorporated, young black lives expiration dated. How are these lives so worthlessly rated? To the killing fields we're now relegated. Why is our future so painfully faded? Martin's not coming back through that door. We don't have that kind of king anymore, who lowers this ceiling and raises this floor, who pulls down these walls and empowers the poor. How many times must we protest and move, assemble and vote, and then begin to move? We find ourselves back in that late 60s groove. is this a path that can ever be smooth? We can't even measure our lives by the decades, by the years, by the months, by the weeks, by the days, by the hours, or by the minutes. We now have to measure our lives by the militias and the minions, by the instigators and the insurrectionists, by the bump stocks and black talons, by the ones in fatigues and flak jackets, by the ones in riot gear and advancing blue lines, by the ones wrapped in Confederate flags, by the ones in business suits and golf pants, by the ones on Twitter and the dark web. Through the fog of war, we see a different America, a scabrous blight on the amber waves, the purple mountains reduced to rubble, the lady in the harbor cuffed and muzzled, the beacon in the bay gone dark and silent. Red blood flowing in the streets, blue lines bracing for the looters and the cheats, white cloth cut into pink peaked hoods and sheets. You've enslaved our people for the doleful decades. You've endangered our people for Yankee years. You've entangled our people for monstrous months. You've ensnared our people for woeful weeks. You've encroached on our people for disastrous days. You've envied our people for hateful hours. You've endured our people for measured minutes. You would again consign us to the chief of history. You would again declare us 3/5 of a man. You would again make us those hunted hogs. You would again confine us to cabin and field. You would forever fly your banners of disdain over us. You would forever deny our achievements and contributions. You would forever incarcerate and disappear us. You would forever avow that our lives don't matter. These are the decades of new death. These are the years of new yokes. These are the months of new menace. These are the weeks of new worry. These are the days of new demons. These are the hours of new horror. These are the moments of new mayhem. Still, even through the fog of war, we see a different America, a marvelous light at the tunnel's end, the purple mountains redolent with hope and mercy, the lady in the harbor released and renewed, the beacon in the bay beckoning the lost, the stolen, and the strayed, red blood flowing through a unified heart, blue lines embracing a true call to serve and protect, white cloth sewn into choir robes and garments of praise. We are not afraid. We will not be cowed. We will not be silent. We will know our friends and stay beside them. God is on our side. Justice will roll down like waters, righteousness like an ever-flowing stream. If we must die, it will not be as hogs to the slaughter. We too are Americans. We will not let hate win. We shall overcome. And I have one last piece I'd like to share with you. And this one may be the toughest one to stomach, but that's the way that poets roll, I guess. Okay, so this is called, and this is from my most recent book, which is Brown Skin in the Brave New World, A Poet's Anthem. This is called They Shoot Black Boys, Don't They? A Tragedy in 5 Acts. Black boys spied from the cruiser seat. No real crime, just walking the street. Always wary of prowling heat, terrorizing their urban beat. Wrong place and time for them to meet. Vicious cycle about to repeat. Bullets fly toward running feet. Shots rain down like hail and sleet. Body slumps over with no heartbeat. Covered quick with a rubber sheet. Cell phone nation begins to tweet. A cancerous violence whole and complete. Removed from justice, surgically neat. Officials expressing regret, then retreat. Community mourns death and defeat. Asphalt altars rise, bittersweet. Makeshift shrines adorn the concrete. It's like they're nothing more than meat, shot down like frightened deer to eat. They shoot black boys, don't they? That thin blue line continues to roll, watching black youth like fish in a bowl. Conspiracy theories out of control, but no one shoots from a grassy knoll. We can't escape the daily patrol that chills our lives with the lives they stole. candles and notes by the telephone pole, expressing our family's tortured soul. How do we fill this deepening hole? Is staying alive such a lofty goal? This public assault is taking its toll. Scary voices as dark as coal never seek to calm and cajole. A president's outbreaks coax and cajole as Twitter minions spew vitriol. The internet haters steadily troll as senators suck on the public dole and hide in plain sight from their public role. They shoot Black boys, don't they? Beyond the movie and TV themes, the Facebook chats, emojis, and memes, this is more real than it ever seems, plunging communities into extremes. Death in our nightmares, death in our dreams, brown kids caught in police high beams, Black men subject to violent schemes as squads band together like mafia teams. Protest marches are shown on live streams. Onlookers weep and America screams. A cauldron of race just simmers and steams, invoking religion only blasphemes, and the legal solution never redeems. So fires rage in hostile regimes as the neighborhood comes apart at the seams. The police state builds with iron beams, and many deny that the badge still gleams. One man rebukes what another esteems, and the fate of our children haunts our dreams. They shoot Black boys, don't they? A question asked, statement made, another mother's hopes betrayed, as men in blue make bullets cascade, and even as their guilt is weighed, they get desk duty, they still get paid. It wasn't even a legal raid, but another son to rest is laid. His hulking presence emerged from the shade. They saw the thug that is always portrayed. His actions made them so afraid that his keys looked like a razor blade. All training was lost in a cruel charade by roguish cops gone renegade. Yes, that's the way that the game is played, by a public servant's masquerade, by a scared peace officer's fusillade. This is racism on parade. This is the curse of bias displayed as another Black boy to rest is laid. They shoot Black boys, don't they? We're all waking up to the tragic newsreel, where pools of red blood begin to congeal. Beyond the precinct and far afield, assault-style ordnance is what they'll wield. Stockpiling mags with ultra-high yield, Confederate banners no longer concealed. Alt-right militias, supremacist zeal, courting race war as a fruit to peel. Wives and kids, the same happy meal. Question, to what altar do they kneel? How do they bring Christian faith to heal? What strange voice are they hearing squeal? What lack of conscience does this reveal? How do you think it makes us feel? This calculated and deadly ordeal, historically bound but so surreal. The noose replaced by the Glock and steel. The new Klan riding and taking the wheel, rubber stamped by a president's seal. And they shoot Black boys, don't they? So that's my story, poetically speaking, and I'm sticking to it. But I do want to give the floor at this point to, I think it's Heather. And if it's not Heather, then it's Max Sullivan. If it's Max, he will introduce himself, and quite well. He teaches at Medford High School, and he's involved in parent-teacher night this evening. So he's not here with us, but he was good enough to send us a video of his work. And I love Max. He's a great poet, a great guy. He's an interesting fellow. He's a musician and a brewmaster. He's got a lot going on, and tonight is evidence of that. And if it's not Max coming up next, then it will be my friend Heather Sullivan. I love her work. You know, she can be airy and light, but she can also be dead serious and to the point. And that juxtaposition of style and skill is a wonder to behold. So you next on your screen will either be Max Heinig or Heather Sullivan. It's a pick 'em. They're both great. Have a good night, everybody.
We'll go
Thank
to
you
Heather
very
next. Thank you, Terry. Heather,
You're
you are
welcome.
unmuted if you would like to start.
Excellent. Thank you so much. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, brilliant. All right. So Terry, I want to just say Brilliant as always. Brilliant as
Thank
always.
you.
You're very welcome. So good evening, ArtsMedford Annual Council Meeting. I'm honored to be here tonight. This is quite a thrill. I love to be with my comrades, Terry and Max, while we discuss the theme of social justice in poetry. So I brought a couple pieces for you tonight. Mine are significantly shorter than Terry's, so I pray your patience with me. I appreciate poetry that tells a story and helps us to understand our world and ourselves. For me, common themes in my work go back to family, home, and the stories that people share with me. In my poetry, when I look at current events, I often go back to the effects on children. So you'll see that reoccurring in my work. First up, in light of the lying that we deal with daily on the national stage, I share with you Gracious. The problem isn't the lie, but when the lie becomes the truth. We share the assumption 1,000 times over throughout generations until we've made it fact. Like how Pope Gregory I makes over Mary Magdalene into a repentant whore, which isn't the truth. And centuries later, your local preacher reminds you that there's even grace in the Lord's unending love for a prostitute like that Mary of Magdala. But knowledge is gracious. And Mary was the woman who understood completely. You're either a sinner or a saint on the sliding scale, no stops in between or gradients of choice. This next poem was written after the murder of Michael Brown. The TV images of his body in the street constantly played out in the media, but in a different fashion than they do now. We didn't have videos, so we just saw the picture over and over again of that poor baby in the street. So I thought of how we recorded the ways, a millennia ago of those pictured moments, and then versus contemporary culture. So I thought of tapestries. This is Fergus. Tapestries covering the stones on the wall of a Scottish castle play out verdant fields, making way to a clearing where a ringlet of virgins encircle a dove-colored unicorn, docile, head bent, neck laid bare for the axe, knowing the frozen future, but unable to flex towards freedom. To the right, another image, the picture of a young man, bleeding out in the middle of the city street in Missouri, eyes glazed, knowing the inevitable slowdown of the drum in his head signaled the light fading into pinpoint. No more opportunities left to meet with friends, to laugh, to breathe the late summer air, to kiss his mother goodnight. Head laid open in two places to the heavens, receiving the cover of a body bag. Next, I have several pieces that talk about the conflicts and suffering in the Middle East. This first one was written after 4 boys, all cousins, stopped along the Gaza shore to play, and they were murdered by gunboats. So this is Fleeting. Iron is to rust, as rocks thrown at tanks by children is to mounting numbers of dead and wounded. Childhoods marred by percussive grenades, homes razed, belongings covered in the maroon-colored dust of desolation, pages of the Quran flipping and dancing in the breeze, anointing each pile of rubble. Washing their feet in the Mediterranean, the gunboat shells chased them, 4 broken bodies by the sea. Civilian casualties are unintended and tragic, read the press release. The land sits on an aquifer of blood offerings to politicians and brokered talks. This next one, I'm sure you can remember the sarin gas attacks in Syria. And again, as I turn to the news and the different articles online that I read, this central theme of the children, because I could see nothing but pictures of children being furiously washed to try to remove the nerve agent from them. Sarin for the children. The children are gasping for air. hands in unending seizure, unable to lift them to throat, eyes filled with asphyxia fear, the sky burning clear and odorless, dead mothers lying feet away with impotent arms, no succor to offer in finality to babies whose clothes are stripped from them, washed feverishly with hoses to make them safe to touch, to carry, to bury. The streets are lined with generations. Water pooling briefly before it finds the path of least resistance. In the same way, we have turned our faces away from the glare when the pinpricks of their eyes become too much.
Wow.
Thank you.
Wow.
This last one, for the refugees dead and lost in the Mediterranean, which is the deadliest migration route. And often the identification of the bodies is challenging due to the sea, so their country of origin is often untraceable. So we don't even know how many tens of thousands of people have died. Empty. There are children dying every day while trying to escape from tyranny. Unending wandering and dying, parents losing their grip on toddlers as they wash out to sea, finally drifting too late to safety with lungs full of salt water and blue lips that would still be kissed goodnight. I could carve my eyes out from the sadness, slice heart from chest cavity and box it away, leaving the space for cyclamen and dead leaves, shuffle in and out of tomorrow, to pray that sweet numbness would pull me down to the anemones, where I can take their tiny hands and cradle them against the crashing waves overhead. And then finally, this last poem, based entirely on a true story, is where I need to remember that social justice and reform start at home. They start in what I say and what I do, and in evaluating my own actions and thoughts and challenging myself every day to be better. Multiple transgressions. Sitting 4 cars back at the red light across from the liquor store, I notice a panhandler to my right. He's got a metal coffee can painted green and orange with donations written in big black letters across the middle. There's a beat-up kid's bike leaning on its kickstand near him, crepe paper streamers and a cardboard sign strung between the handlebars that reads "homeless." He's walking back and forth and through the lines of cars, and I am staring straight ahead because I never have any cash on me. In a moment of weakness, I glance at the door lock to confirm security, then am immediately disappointed in myself. Worry is a constant when in the world alone, and it is no excuse, but a root cause made manifest by the knowledge that no matter how much stronger I am than many men, it's not most of them. Steeping in my hypocrisy, I rationalize as the light turns green that at least my transgression isn't yours, proselytizing at the small homeless encampment near the park with blankets and water bottles, a loaded gun concealed under your jacket. Every member of your church group was armed with more than the word of God. I was disappointed in you too, and you and me in my naivete. You and your youth know the real world and will turn the other cheek within reason. A pro-offered peanut butter sandwich with stipulations. And that's what I have tonight. Thank you.
Tremendous, tremendous.
Thank you.
Tremendous. So I know that I'm joined by most of you, hopefully all of you, in celebrating Heather's tremendous talent in her unique and wondrous voice. So thank you very much for joining me. A pleasure to work with you again, and I know we'll do it again soon.
Yes, we will.
Yes, absolutely. So
I will share my screen if you want, Terry, and then try and bring up Max.
absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. And he really needs no introduction to most folks. And he will actually introduce himself to a certain extent as well. So Max Heinig, everybody.
Anybody know how this is supposed to work? Microsoft OneDrive, Google Drive. Maybe that's what I want.
It's just a YouTube video.
Right, I know. Does anybody see Max's face at this point?
No.
No.
Terry has to accept the screen sharing.
I'm a host.
Oh, I thought
Yeah.
you were giving it to
Yeah.
Terry.
No, I'm a host, so that's not it.
But we're not seeing you sharing, so
Yeah, you have to share.
you
Click
see
the screen at the bottom.
the green share button at the
Yeah,
bottom?
I did that to begin with. Yes.
So now switch to the screen where your video is.
I'm on the screen that I want you to see.
But when you said share, you had to pick what you're going to share?
Exactly.
Right, but it's not showing me what I want to share.
Oh, is it a video? Or
It is a video.
It's a YouTube video.
when you say, if you go back, if you stop sharing and say share again,
Okay.
there's a little box that says optimize for.
Oh, okay.
And if you have a
It's
Mac,
sharing
you can
options.
swipe left and right to get your different screens.
Yeah. You have to kind of scroll back and forth.
Yeah.
Okay, there's nothing there.
What?
Share computer sound, optimize screen share for video clip. All right, I've done that. And now what was it, Brian?
So if you have a Mac, if you swipe left and right, you'll get all of your screens. You know what I'm talking about? Your pad?
Yeah, it's not showing me what I need. Oh, here it is. Okay, maybe this will do it.
Now
Yep,
it's working.
it's coming.
Are you seeing him now?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yay. Okay.
I'm a Medford resident. And
Start from the beginning. Okay.
Hi, thanks for having me. My name is Max Heinig. I'm a 23-year veteran teacher in the Medford Public Schools. The last 18 years I've spent at Medford High School teaching world literature and British literature. I'm a Medford resident and my two daughters go to Medford High. I'm really proud to be a part of tonight's reading. I'm sorry that I can't be in person or via Zoom because I have parent night and I have to greet the parents. I've been writing poetry since I was 15, on and off, quite devotedly the last 5 or 6 years. And I've been writing poems in response
Susan, we just see
to
a
some of the
still.
things that have been happening in our world and also to the current administration. I'd like to read 2 poems for you. One is about a student and one is about people in general. The first poem is called Dreamer. And it's a response to one of my students.
Okay, so can you tell me how to bring my shared screen to the front, folks?
Do you just have one screen, like one, just
I have one
laptop? Just
screen
share,
showing.
can you share the whole laptop screen and not the different windows? It actually, Zoom is a little more efficient that way.
I don't know how to do it. Sorry.
There should be an option that says the whole screen and not the different windows.
Nope.
So, if, you know, it's.
Can you hear him?
Yeah, we can hear
Yeah,
it. We just
fine.
can't see it.
So maybe we'll just do that then?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Coming after school to work on her senior essay and
Back that up.
not after school to work on her senior to one of my students coming after school to work on her senior essay and not being sure whether or not she could mention that she was undocumented. The poem's called Dreamer. The dedication is for, and it's blank because I wasn't sure if dedicating the poem to her would be dangerous. Dreamer. She doesn't want to write the immigration essay. Says she can't remember Gobernador Valladares. She attended the local elementary, only learning what she was when she couldn't work. Then it made sense, her father praying when a cop followed his pickup, her mother cleaning because she could without a card. She wants to write about DACA, Trump stealing her dream of staying, going to Berkeley, becoming a musician and then a teacher, like you did. I'm afraid she should hide her history, leave no paper trail. Now my help endangers her. She decides to redact nothing, not because I've taught her God is in the details, but because she knows there is nothing illegal about her. At home, my daughters walk from their bus together. There are raids one town over. I want them to know what the country is becoming, what it's not worth. My second poem is called Buckler, which is a small shield, and it's about the way I sort of feel about the sort of atmosphere that's been engendered by the current administration. At the end of the poem, the word scoot pops up, and it's a part of a tortoiseshell. It's like the little, it's kind of square. And it's about the idea of how the Romans would fight shield to shield, and together they would be stronger. Buckler. Because to wield war gear while buying milk would seem an intimidating strangeness, we stand behind 7 layers of hide and metal as the forum becomes Colosseum and neighbors vote Nero and invest in jails, and bad altars send them off with tribal hymns, armored in rivalry. My dog is bigger. My stick figure family pisses on yours. Arrows from higher ground and coverts of jealousy. So we must hunch and duck. But we be wiser to stand together like Roman legions whose interlocked shields became tortoise shell scoots against deathly descent, listening for the signal to advance in unison. So there's my wish that going forward we can stand arms interlocked, protecting each other, standing for each other, being together, and to change for the better. Thanks so much for having me. Again, sorry that I have to be at parent night, and best of luck to everyone else reading, and I hope you enjoy both Terry and Heather. They're both great poets. Take care, and hope to see you soon in person.
Wow.
Well, thanks for having us. I'll speak for Max and for Heather as well. We certainly enjoy our time sharing our poetry with anyone, but particularly with this group who represents so much good and so much creativity in the Medford area. And I'm sure that our paths will cross again. So thank you, and have a great rest of the meeting. I'm going to sit and listen to the tribute to Louise, and then I actually have another meeting that I have to go off to.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Thank
all.
you very much, Terry, for being part of this. Really do appreciate it. And for cluing me into Heather and Max. That was really wonderful. I remember meeting Max online when I did some poetry at your event. And so I was really thrilled that we could have you guys together. Anyway, thank you. And thank you, Heather, very much for joining us. That was fabulous.
Thank you. It was quite an honor. Thank you.
Please stay if you can. So I believe that I'm going to unmute her. I believe that Laurel is with us, and Laurel Siegel is the president of Cachet in Medford, and I would like her to sort of begin this tribute to Louise Musto-Choate, who was a Medford artist, a member of ArtsMedford, a very good friend to many, many people here, and also on one of the instigators of trying to get a art center in Medford, which we are still working on. But at any rate, Laurel, can you speak? Are
Certainly.
you? Yes. Hi, Laurel.
So yeah, as Susan mentioned, you know, I'm the president of Cache, and it was through Cache that I got to know Louise, and we have been friends for about a decade now, and we were both part of the founding team for Circle the Square, which is really how I got to know her in the first place, and just incredible drive and spirit, somebody who always said yes, somebody who was always ready to dive in and take on a new task, and help out any way that she could. And we got to be very close friends over the years. We have a tight-knit group, myself, Cheryl Pendenza, May Markabreck, and Laura Olifiers, you know, regular dinners out and getting together all the time. And we've been in close contact with Louise and her family, unfortunately, over the last few weeks of her life, as she was going through lots of medical difficulties. And today, Cheryl and I have been talking with her daughter and one of her sons. Both of her sons are now here in town. And it was Louise's wish. She didn't want anybody to mourn her. You know, they're talking about possibly in the future when we have the opportunity and life circumstances are different, holding some sort of celebration of Louise's life. But for now, it was her wish to be cremated and to have her ashes spread in Rockport, which is her favorite place. So I think that that's a wonderful tribute to her. So it'll be, you know, a private thing for her family, but it's nice to know that she'll be remembered that way. And as Susan mentioned, she was a driving force behind the Arts Collaborative Medford project. Her condo overlooks the Hegner building. And so she kept a hawk eye on what was going on with that building, and kept saying, this has got to be an art center. This can be an art center. So I really hope that, again, when this current situation passes, we'll be able to dive back into that project and bring that to reality for the community.
So if anybody would like to begin, I know there are some people who joined this call specifically, I think, because we were going to do this, and I don't know if they're still on. A few people seem to have gotten off, but would anyone like to start?
I actually looked through my roll of digital photos, and I found actually 3 pictures of her, and then one that Patty Saunders, who was one of the founding members of now ArtsMedford, but then Mackey. There's a picture that I saved that she had posted a few days ago. But I do, if you want me to, I could share them with you. I met Louise especially, I guess in 2013, 2014, somewhere in there, when we were starting to have our own gallery, a little gallery in the middle of Medford Square called the Mystic Art Gallery. And the two of us would do, everyone in the gallery, of course, had to take their turns with sitting and minding the gallery. It was like a co-op in some ways. And Louise and I also were big on just organizing lots of the jewelry displays, because at that time she was doing a lot of precious metal clay jewelry. And so I actually have some pictures of back from 2014 when we were all together setting up a display with, like, there were three of us. There was another jeweler who was there too. So, but I have pictures of that. Plus, I do have a picture of when we first started Arts Collaborative Medford, and we had a fundraiser at the Chicken and Rice Guys. I have that photo here too. So if you want me to, I'd be happy to share.
Yep, I just made you a co-host.
Got it. Okay. All right. Let me close the rest of this. You can see.
There she is.
There, can you see?
Artist.
So that's Louise there, and this is actually my daughter, and this was Rima's daughter. And this was in the Mystic Art Gallery. And Louise's jewelry was all up along in here and some behind here. You can see it was featured artists. We did like a whole like jewelry show. And I love this picture, even though our eyes are closed. I just love everyone laughing. It was just, there's a better picture, but it was a, I couldn't put it on this slideshow because it was a multi-shot. And this was during Arts Collaborative Medford when we did a fundraiser, Chicken Rice Guys, for our new organization. And this was last June, a year ago, June.
Yeah, we're good in that, right? Ooh.
That was Louise, and this is Cambia Davis. I'm not exactly sure when this was taken, but it was definitely a while ago. And I know I have other pictures of her, but they weren't on my digital. I have to, I have a lot of the Mackie archives now, so I have to go through them. And I'm sure there'll be pictures of Louise in there too. That's all I have. I thought you'd like to see them.
Thank you very much for sharing those.
You're welcome. My pleasure. I'll miss her. She was a lovely person, at times also a force to be reckoned with in a good way. And I loved working with her and collaborating with her with all sorts of different art projects. And yeah, she was just a lovely person to be around.
Yes. Well, I did not know Louise nearly as well as some people did, but I saw her all the time. She was at every art event in Medford, and she always had a smile on her face, and she was always wanting a hug and wanting to give a hug and just a happy spirit. And so she was a joy to know, and very generous with her time and her expertise. And we always had meetings in her condo development, and so she always had, space and time for people to come do things with her. And she was just, in addition to being an amazing artist who just crossed genres with seemingly no effort at all. I know there was a lot of effort. I know she spent a lot of time learning how to do acrylic pours, but she just sort of emerged as a fully fledged artist from her training in front of YouTube videos. And one day she was doing silver jewelry, which was magnificent, and then she said, no, I'm done with this. And a few months later, she became an acrylic painter, and just these paintings are just astonishing. They're so beautiful. And yeah, I was very impressed. Pretty much everything she tried, she was good at, and she was just a wonderful and lovely person. Would anyone like to share you can I'll unmute everyone just in case it's the problem.
So I'm wearing a piece of Louise on me right now.
Ah, very nice.
Her jewelry was absolutely exquisite and very special because Louise would wear every piece of jewelry before she would allow it to be bought by anybody. So you're actually, you know, I'm wearing something that she was on her body, that's a part of her. Louise, I didn't know in depth, but I feel like I know her so well. That's her personality. As a gift to a dear friend of ours, for her I think it was her 60th or 50th birthday, I called up Louise and she had a private showing for us in her apartment. And it was such a delight to have her put out her jewelry for us and her personality. And again, just that every piece had been not only molded and created by her, but caressed and loved by her. So she, you know, always would share much more than what you see. And just an exquisite, exquisite human being. I feel so, so lucky to be able to carry part of her with me.
So I actually went to look for my piece of jewelry from Louise, and I don't know where it is. I can't find it. It's somewhere in my jewelry collection. But I'm wearing a scarf that was hers that she had donated to one of the Circle the Square yard sales, and I just remember that I saw it and I grabbed it. I have a picture of one of her displays, if you let me share.
Sure. Where are you? Cool. There you go.
Yeah. Where's my screen? Oh well, I'll just share this window. So that work?
Wow.
Yeah, and so that's at City Hall, I believe. But then I also have, so for Circle the Square, she had her art in Mystic Coffee Roaster. So she had sent that picture to me just after she set it up just last month. So I should make that bigger, but I can't. But that's her acrylics. So yes, it was, oh, what's going on here? I got to, you know, work with her in the last 5 years or so, you know, being involved with Mackie, but also with Circle the Square. And yeah, she'll be greatly missed.
So Chris, I know you had an exhibit that is still available on your website of her work. Do you want to share any of that?
Sure. I don't know if I can, I don't think I have the images to share, but I can say that Louise was the first, she was the first Medford artist to come into the gallery and show her work there. So that was kind of neat. And I remember I'd been thinking about her, and I just have this one image of her that I loved, which is I hadn't met her yet, and so she came to the gallery one day to show me her work. And as you know, Louise wasn't a very big person, and so I turned around when the doorbell rang, and I see this woman, Louise, pulling this huge suitcase full of artwork in the front door, one of those ones with wheels on it, and it was just kind of funny, you know, to see this woman, you know, dragging in the suitcase that was almost as big as she was. And then, like you said, she had this great smile, and like I said, I'd never met her before, but as soon as she turned around and smiled and said, "Hi, I'm Louise," it just felt like we were friends, you know, immediately. Just one of those people that had that sort of gift of, you know, that kind of a smile, that kind of a personality. But I was amazed at how good she was. I mean, was an artist who was, everything she tried seemed like she did well at. She was very talented.
I knew Louise when we both were sitting at the gallery, the Mystic Gallery, which I loved. It was a great way to meet artists and get to know them, and by sitting at the gallery for 4 hours. And she's a very spirited person and had, I love her directness and her sharing of her opinions. I also have a piece of jewelry that I'm wearing from her that I want to show.
Whoa. Oh, wow. Lovely.
And it's a real leaf that's inside. She would, I don't know the technical term, but we shared the love of nature, and she would find leaves and put silver on them. And we exchanged some pieces of artwork. I know she has one piece with rose petals. I really liked her. She was very warm and very welcoming. I'm really sad that she went. I don't know how she did go. If anybody has something to say about that, I would love to hear. I know she had cancer, but I don't know if it was the cancer came back or it was COVID or anyhow. Yeah.
Anyone else? No. Okay. Well, thank you very much for those thoughts. And certainly, I think some of us would definitely like to know if there's some sort of a celebration of her life that is open to others. Some of us would love to participate in that. So, Laurel, if you hear anything about that, please keep in touch about it. So I think at this point, we will just switch over to a more business-like business meeting and do a little bit, a few updates on some of the projects that we're doing, a treasurer's report, and I think that's about it. So it's about 8:15 now, and perhaps we will be done in 15 or 20 minutes. So if you'd like to stay for that, that's great. If you would like to, those of you who are not currently involved with ArtsMedford, if you would like to be in any capacity at all, we would love to welcome you to do that. And some of the projects that we have on tap for the end of this year and the beginning of next might be particularly interesting in terms of some of the thoughts that were expressed in the poetry at the beginning of the meeting. So perhaps we should, if you want to hang on through that portion of it, which will happen in about, I think, 10 minutes, then we can talk to you about that. And if you can't stay, you can listen to the rest of this recording afterwards. We will make it available to everybody.
I just want to say goodbye.
Well, thank you so much for coming.
You're so welcome. Thank you.
Thanks, Sophie.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
It was nice to see you.
I'm gonna go too. It's dinner time.
Oh, continental. Okay. Bye.
Well, whenever we get to it.
I got it.
Bye.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye.
Okay. So, I guess we can start by approving the minutes from the last meeting. Does anyone have any updates to those? No. Okay. Everyone in favor of approving the minutes? Say aye.
Aye.
Anyone not in favor? Say nay. Minutes are approved. Celia, if you want to do a treasurer's report, a brief one.
Sure.
Lovely.
All right, so just going through really quickly, we'll start with Mystic Makerspace. So we're just looking at the year, not, starting from January, because that's when our fiscal year starts. So there's very little happening at Mystic Makerspace. We're running online classes. So, our expenses, you can see they're pretty low and they'll stay low. We did have a grant going with Senior Center. We ran one workshop. We were trying to do some virtual workshops with them, but we just don't know if that's going to happen. So that's Makerspace. Marv is actually doing quite a bit. Unfortunately, well, not unfortunately. So there's a lot of grants that we expect. The money hasn't come in yet, but I don't think that's a worry. And then expenditures mainly from Tuesdays with Marv. So we're paying out stipends and why is that in there twice? And then we had a big expense to do some repairs on Marv. So that, it was less than what we budget because we put a lot of money in, or we put aside a lot of money for maintenance. So that was fine. We budgeted for it. We did spend it. So we spent a good chunk of it. And I think that's about it for Marv. And then if we go to the Mackey budget. So we projected to bring in about 2,000 in memberships. We're at just, sorry. We projected to bring in 1,700 and we brought in about 2,000 already. Wait, is that right?
Wait for us.
Checking my numbers really quick. Oh yeah. Oh, wow. So that's good. Jump back. And I expect, we'll do. I've already set the membership so that if you pay from here on, you get next year's. So we'll do a little reminder about membership renewal, but we did quite well. So the other thing is the grant for the diversity project, right? And so we're assuming we'll hear a summary later, but I think we're on track to spend that. The other big expense is the name change. So I think that there's still, the web domain changes and we still expect something to come there, and then the new logo expenses. So that's kind of the summary. If you look at the overall amount, right, that we're projected, we're to spend about 5,300, and then we're bringing in a little less, but we have money in the bank, so we should be okay there. So I think that's the general summary.
Okay, so thumbs up all the way around, huh?
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah, because we're not spending as much as we usually do, so we're doing quite well.
There was an advantage.
Eventually, I mean,
the silver lining to COVID, huh?
Yeah, I mean, we have less events, so maybe that's not so good, but we're not spending the money.
Right. Okay.
Can I just say, first off, Jason and Allison, welcome to your first ArtsMedford board meeting.
Yeah.
Officially. And welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Sorry, we only gave you a few days' notice.
Is that true? We didn't mean to. We were bad.
Yeah,
So
we need to, that's one of the things is we need to update the board list.
right. And which reminds me, Jason and Allison, can you send to the Medford Arts Center email account your addresses and
We have
phone
it from
number?
there.
You already
We
have
have
that?
it in, right, because they, yes, it's in the membership list.
Is it? Okay, because I was there this afternoon and I did not see it.
I just put it there last week, so when I added them to the membership list.
Yeah, I did not see them. I saw their names, I just didn't see any addresses. Okay.
It's there.
Good. So that's taken care of. And we also would love to have like just a short time, maybe an hour or so, for the two of you to talk with those of us who are available for a little orientation of just like the kinds of the kinds of paperwork, virtual paperwork that we regularly use and where you can access it, and what, you know, go through the bylaws really quickly for the things that are really sort of standouts there, and talk about the different committees. So if you want, we can figure that out sometime in the next few weeks, and we can send you a doodle poll, or one of us can just give you a call and say, hey, when's good, whatever you like. But that it might be helpful for you. We've done it for the last couple of years, and it seems to be good for new people to have that. They're just not as, since everything's virtual now, it's easier if you kind of know where things are and are a little familiar with how to get around.
Yeah, happy to. Thank you. Yeah, if you wanted to send us a doodle poll, that might be good. We can just look at our calendars.
Sure.
Or send us just a couple dates and we could tell you what works, but.
Yeah.
Right. Is there, do you, are days difficult for you? Do you prefer evenings in general?
Yeah.
Okay. Very good. We will. So we are almost finished with the fall part of a painting project that involves Cache and the Medford Chamber of Commerce and the Mayor's Office and the Highways Department and students from Medford High School's Center for Citizenship and Social Responsibility. And so we just painted the fourth Jersey barrier today, which is in front of Oasis Restaurant. And so we've also done most of the very large project at Salvatore's in Medford Square, and Shanghai Moon in Haynes Square, and Bistro 5 in West Medford Square. And from what I understand, there's a good possibility that there will be others of them in the spring. But for now, we have 4, and they were fun projects to do.
Yeah.
So I might be able to dig up the picture on if I can get my screen to cooperate, I might be able to show you that at some point. But meanwhile, I don't want to have people wait while I fuss with it. So maybe we can move along right now to the diversity project. And Sarah, do you have any updates about doc counts that you want to share with us?
Sure. So Brian and I met, I think with Medford Historical Society, and we met socially distanced on my front porch and shared all the doc counts documents that I had, which is a fair amount. And we decided, because amongst them all are, there's some DVDs and, oh, did you find them, Celia?
They're on my phone.
Oh, there you
One.
Yeah,
Sorry.
that's always that, isn't there?
Yeah.
There I found a whole bunch. There's a whole bunch of CDs and DVDs, and the goal is eventually to put together a whole exhibit of this. Where it's going to be held, it's not 100% sure, but I know that Brian had volunteered to have it at the community center, and the Historical Society also was very much in favor of that. Plus, I mean, that's the council's community anyways, is that where they lived. So, it'd just be a perfect spot. Plus, if we can eventually, once we can actually have an exhibit in person to go to, when it's safe, that we might be able to figure out a way to keep it there for a period of time. And I know we have these large mesh panels that we've used in the past for art exhibits, and they fold down to like nothing mostly. And I know I have to look to see who of us has them, but I know that they are somewhere in one of our basements. But we can use those at least for part of the exhibit. But I know Brian and I are starting to go through the CDs and the DVDs. I've started to create a Google Drive so the two of us can kind of catalog everything, because that's going to be a big project. I have a lot of photographs that were printed out already, but we're checking to make sure that there were things that we didn't, that we might have missed and aren't in there. Plus, I think there may be some recordings of some of the concerts that happened, some music that happened during the festivals, all of that. So yeah, Brian and I have a lot of work, right?
Yes. And also, let me add that, of course, the community center as that's where Doc Counts and his family grew up. It's certainly a venue that, you can display and ultimately be a home of some sort. But I would think, in addition to that, perhaps as a way to spread the work that we're doing with this organization, we could take that exhibit to different places in Medford, as sort of a traveling way to show the other parts of Medford what this community and Doc Counts represented. And it could ultimately end up at the center, but I just don't want to rule out spreading it to other parts of the city and the message that we're trying to promulgate.
How about like a pop-up Marv pop-up show? Put it on Marv and put it in Marv, and then take it around and have it for just like, the day or a few hours, like 4 hours or something in each spot or something like that. I don't know.
It's not only a West Medford treasure, it's a Medford treasure.
Yes, it is.
I think we should, it also helps spread the work that we're doing for ArtsMedford.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yep.
I like the idea of traveling and having it travel around.
Yeah. That's great. I'm going to try sharing my screen one more time and see if I can show you the picture from Oasis today. Yes, I can.
Ah. That's cute.
That's one of 4 panels.
Great.
So, yep, they got that, and then let's see if we have the others.
I need some context. Where is that?
Oh, that's in front of Oasis Restaurant in the main square area, the main street area.
Like
Harvard Street.
What stores are near there?
Nothing much. That if you're not already familiar with the area, it's not very big. Bocelli's restaurant.
Yeah, it's across the street. Yep.
You know what? Chris's gallery was in that area.
Oh, awesome.
So right across, it's very small. It's only like a block in each direction.
Right.
Arthur's Pastry. I don't know if you're familiar with Arthur's Pastry.
Oh yeah, Arthur's, right.
Yep.
Can't forget Arthur's.
It's more or less our neighborhood. We're just a few blocks up
we live
towards Somerville, yeah.
I go by your house probably every day because my studio is on Vernon Street, so I just go right up Medford Street and out. So I've got a couple of others so this is part of Salvatore's. That's one of the CCSR students. Can you see this?
You're not sharing anymore.
I'm not sharing? Hmm. Every time I show a different thing, I guess I have to reshare. Okay. Can you see it now?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay. What else have I got here?
That's cool.
What kind of paint did you use?
Something called All Floor, which is, I guess that's about it, which is specifically made for concrete, but it works on anything. Little less expensive than other paints like it, and you can make it any color you want. They customize any color now. So,
and that's across from the professional building.
yes. So this is behind Salvatore's restaurants, their outdoor cafe, and I got these really cool stencils that we're gonna stencil up some of the Jersey barriers. So that's the last step, and hopefully they will like it enough to let us do it on several.
Do you have both sides of the colored, I assume? The painted on both sides?
The other side is just white.
Okay.
Yep. Because this is the part that's the restaurants, and it's such a big space that we just,
It is a very big space.
Yeah, it's enormous.
It's
13
painted
times
white
2.
or natural white?
White. So it can be seen easily by cars not paying attention.
I have my pictures of the one I did too, although it's a lot simpler.
Right.
If you want to see them.
So we probably should, yours is it's beige pretty much with
it's
their
ivory
logo
with
on it.
T05 on
Yeah.
it. Yeah, spray
Yeah.
painted.
Yeah, but it's now 8:30 and I want us to get off fairly soon, so we should probably try to finish up. So the diversity project also contains photography component, and I'm supposed to be doing some work on that, and now that the painting project is pretty much put to bed, I think I'll be able to focus on that. And Jason or Allison, if you are interested, when we have our orientation, I'll go over this with you anyway, but we could definitely use another person thinking through what we're going to do and how we're going to do it and where we're going to do it. The basic idea of the project is to show some of the diversity, of the Medford community through their own eyes and words. So, some of the poetry that was read tonight is perfect, but we want to pair that with visuals that also express some of the same feelings or thoughts or people's personal identities through their own, painting or a photograph of themselves or things like that. And so originally we were going to do this in person, but given COVID, we are thinking about doing it as a virtual project instead, or at least in large part. So we're definitely interested in having more people to help us think this through. So not in the full group, but just, a subgroup of people who have interest in that. So no pressure, but please think about it. And there's a collection of children's books that have been donated to us by Candlewick Press in Davis Square, and we have a lot of them, and we want to give them away at some of the food pantries in Medford. So I've started to be in touch with a person at the Malden Y that is coordinating all the food pantries. And as you can imagine, she's a pretty busy person, but I think we're probably actually gonna manage to talk to each other next week. And so the idea is that we have all these books on Marv, and we have little art projects, pom-poms, and we also have some hula hoop kits that are ready to make mandalas out of. They have all the materials and they've been bundled together. So we have a bunch of them, excuse me. And then we also have at least 20 more hula hoops and a lot more materials to make mandalas out of. So we could give those away. And I know Sarah was trying to get a collection of bracelet kits together. So we have a lot of art that we can give away as part of this as well. And so we were thinking of putting all those things on Marv and driving him to whichever food pantry we're going to go to, and setting up a couple of tables and giving books away there. And so we want to do that before the bad weather really sort of sets in too hard. So in the next few weeks. And if we don't finish it in the next few weeks, we'll pick it up again in the spring. And let's see, what else have we got on tap? We already had Makerspace updates. Oh, Tuesdays with Marv. So we seem to sort of be winding down now. I'm trying to line up another artist. Jason and Allison, are you familiar with Tuesdays with Marv, or should we go over it a little?
You could tell us the orientation if you want, maybe. I don't know.
Okay, well, it's just a project where rather than taking Marv to places, we use it as a virtual vehicle and bring artists to the community Tuesday afternoons at around 5:30 or 7, depending on what the artist wants. Both times seem to be difficult for people. So yeah, you get a different small slice of people. And we've had, I think we've had about 10 so far. And hopefully we'll have a few more in the next month or two. And then we have to start thinking about what we're going to do next year. But they've been very well received, and we have all the videos on Zoom for people to go see afterwards. We have our own channel.
And YouTube, yeah.
Yeah. And so it's been fun. It's been a lot of work, but it's been fun. And I think those are about the only things I had on my list to talk about. I'm missing something.
I'm looking. I don't think so. I think you've got
Okay.
it all.
Okay. So we also need to pick a next meeting date, and we have almost everyone still on the call. We never did get Ruth. Don't know where she is tonight, but.
Can I just ask one more time about Marv? So we only have 3 keys, is that right? I thought we had more than 3 keys.
I think we only have 3.
Because you made a bunch.
I have 1. I made 2.
And we had 2, so we should have 4 keys. Oh, 1. Okay, anyway.
I have 1.
Right.
I have 1.
3 of us each have
You
1.
have 1. Nancy had 1, but she returned it. Kristen had 1, but I think she returned it.
Right, so I think we had 4 keys, so somewhere there's a key.
I don't know if there's, I don't know where the 4th one is.
Okay.
But you know what we don't have is gas.
Yes, I know, I saw that.
I think we're on fumes at this point.
Uh-oh.
It's still above empty, but
It
yeah,
is.
the next, I guess it's me, so I'll just
Well,
pay
I
the
was
gas
thinking
and
about
get
going today, but for reasons that are too embarrassing to go into in great detail, my distance glasses are not functional. And so I was a little afraid to, okay, driving my own Prius during the day, but I didn't really want to take a bus where I'm not quite as sure where the edges in the back are and be a little fuzzy. So
That's because you're smart.
yeah, I think it probably was. It could have been ugly. So yeah, I'm not going to share why I don't have distance classes. Believe me, you will not guess. So should we try and pick a next meeting and hope that Ruth can come?
Yeah.
Okay.
Jason and Allison, does any day of the week work good for you or not?
Yeah, I think in November we should be pretty free in the evenings.
Okay.
Maybe
Yeah.
not Tuesday. But
Not Tuesday? Okay. We got, the day after the election. I don't know.
No.
Might be too wrung out.
Or too happy, either one.
Yeah, right. Either we'll be partying or we'll be crying and getting one-way tickets.
It'll be an extreme nonetheless.
I have
It'll be
another
some
meeting.
extreme.
What?
It'll be some extreme, either
Yeah.
sadness or extreme happiness, but no middle ground.
No. No middle ground.
Maybe, or we may not know yet.
oh yeah.
Oh gosh,
May
Oh,
not
God.
know yet. I mean, with all the
Yeah.
mail-in ballots, you know,
Mm.
I wouldn't be surprised if we don't know the day
Yeah.
after yet.
You're probably right.
Ah.
Let's not talk about
Sorry.
Oh, God.
But I cannot do the 4th.
Okay. And I can't do the 11th, which is the following Wednesday, but what about Thursday the 12th or Thursday the 5th?
Yeah, I could do either of those.
Yep.
How about a Monday? How do people feel about Mondays?
I hate doing Mondays because I have to cancel my Mosaics evening, but I'll do it if we can't find another night.
Okay, forget that.
I could
What
do
was-
the 12th.
Somebody had a question?
Sarah, was that you?
What day was the 12th?
It's a Thursday.
Thursday.
Thursday. I could do it. I mean, I've got other things I usually do that day, but I can not do those.
All right. So is it Thursday the 12th then?
Okay.
Okay, Thursday the 12th. 6:30 or 7, what works better?
7 works better for me.
Likewise.
Okay,
Ditto.
Thursday the 12th at 7.
Okay, good.
And Jason and Allison will send out a doodle poll and see who would like to come besides you to the orientation and what days are available. And it'll be before the next meeting, so you should feel better about stuff.
Thank you.
And welcome.
Thank you
Yeah,
very
Yeah.
much.
thank you
Good
so
to have
much.
you.
Yeah, we're excited. Thank you.
Definitely glad to have you.
You're not running scared, right?
No,
Like,
no. we're
what
Not
did we
yet.
get ourselves into?
project you guys are working on sound awesome, so we're excited to figure out how to pitch in.
Cool, thanks.
We're excited to have you.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. So you got 15 minutes to stretch and get some tea and dessert and
Some popcorn.
popcorn.
I'm making fraps. It's National Frap Day, I found out this morning.
Oh,
So
that's
I'm making
Well,
fraps
that's a
for my
great
family.
excuse.
It works, right?
Yeah, yeah. Great idea.
You don't like it, you can throw your frap at the TV.
Yeah, there we go. Ooh. Be a mess, though.
Yeah, well, things are a mess, so
Well,
we fit right in.
true.
So actually, before we leave, so we'll decide at the next meeting about logo and everything, right?
Yeah.
Maybe before then, but I mean, we'll definitely have stuff
Some
to look at.
discussion.
Well,
Okay.
then.
Yeah, everyone
So-
weighed in on the email, right? So at least we have a start.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what's the status of the voting for the logo?
It looked very spread, I think.
Yeah, it's not clear.
Yeah.
I'm thinking maybe we should have a call for everybody who's interested in sort of talking it through. Because, you know, some people liked one, some people liked a different one, some people were vehement, some people were like, oh, you know, basically I like several of them and would be happy with either. It's hard to know. So I think in order to go to the next phase, we need to come down a little clearer on what direction we want her to go in. And
did those all come from a single artist?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, we just have to be able to say, okay, this design and do these kinds of things to the type, and then we'll be, you know, we'll be done, probably.
Or at least we're not going to offend anybody by not liking any of them, right?
Right.
So Susan, if you want some help with that, I'll help you.
Great. All right. Let's try and talk. Do you have time tomorrow?
I believe I do.
Okay. I'll send you a text and we can figure out a time. So let me let everybody off this phone, and thank you all. This was very nice.
Yep. Anytime before